Today, I'm sitting with one of the top financial advisors in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area, someone who has been selected as a verified expert by the National Professional Referral Network. After reviewing hundreds of professionals in this market, Scott stood out for a very specific reason, and we're going to get into all of that today. Because most people think they know how to choose an estate planning expert, and reality is they're usually choosing the wrong person based on the wrong criteria. So we're going to break down today how Scott helps high net worth individuals, couples, families, etc., prepare for their estate and prepare the estate planning and what separates Scott from everyone else. So, Scott, I'm so glad you're here. As you know, many successful people in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area reach a point where they realize they need to start an estate planning process. And so, what I want to ask you is, what are the biggest challenges you see today with high net worth individuals, and what are the problems they're facing today?
Well, there's a unique issue going on right now, and that is to say, as portfolios have become increasingly tied to highly appreciated but often illiquid assets, such as real estate and closely held businesses, interests and business interests, we identify fiduciary liquidity problems, capital gains versus estate tax trade-offs, outdated plan assessments, missing basis records, and state tax disparities. So working closely with CPAs, estate attorneys, and bankers, I'm able to identify and provide solutions to my clients that fit their needs.
Perfect. So, can you tell me who do you typically work with, and what type of clients benefit the most from working with you?
Well, I work with individuals, families, and retirees, often collaborating again with financial advisors, accountants, trust officers, and out-of-state heirs, because where I live, there are lots of folks who are snowbirds who live here seasonally, and I assist them on the insurance side of their wills, trusts, and probate matters.
So, as you know, there are a lot of financial advisors and estate planning experts in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. Can you tell me what makes your approach so different from most?
I do get asked this a lot. I'm the only estate planning specialist in the country who has licensed my patent inventions in data security, fintech, rights management to over 25% of the Fortune 100 companies. My approach relies on client-centric strategy that reduces complexity in planning by informal underwriting, close relationships with dozens of carriers, and legacy conversations. I help focus on the longer term and what it means to my clients.
Wow. Okay. Can you walk us through how you typically start working with a new client, and what happens when they start working with you?
So this is definitely a high touch, high trust business, and I emphasize a legacy conversation focused on family values, generally asset protection and peace of mind. But I also use education, empathy, and ongoing actionable communication.
Wait, Scott, hold on one second. You're lagging. Hold on one second. Say hello.
Hello.
Now I don't know if it's your internet connection or mine, so just give it a second because you were perfect. And now you're just lagging behind a little bit. I can ask that question again. You're back. Say hello.
Hello.
All right, now you're back in sync. Let me ask you that one more time.
Let me make sure that you don't have too many internet connections open. I have all mine closed.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, cool. Here we go. Scott, can you walk us through how you typically help a new client or the process that a new client would experience when they start working with you?
Sure. I emphasize a legacy conversation, focus on family values, asset protection, and peace of mind using education, empathy, and of course, ongoing actionable communications. I think that when I'm dealing with new clients, proactive accountability often guides successful outcomes. And what that means is we try and identify those things that matter the most to the client.
Yeah, perfect. Can you maybe share an example of a situation where a new client came to you with a problem and how you were able to solve that problem for that client?
So a great example is actually not in life insurance itself, but actually in life settlements. I had a client come to me with a life insurance policy that was about to increase from $2,000 a premium a month to $8,000 a month. And they didn't know what to do with it. The person who sold the policy over 20 years ago really didn't provide any insight or help. So we worked through a life settlement process in which we were able to get the client 35% of the death benefit, as well as a bonus of another $100,000 of death benefit should the insured pass within a 2-year period of time. And this really changed the life of the client. I mean, the client really was facing a very difficult situation at the age of 85. And this was a very nice outcome and something that we don't see often in the life settlement side of the business, which is when we sell policies that have cash value.
Mm. What in your background, or what about the experience or experiences you've had in your life makes you uniquely qualified to help people with their estate plan in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area?
So I was born and raised in Miami. I lived in South Florida most of my life. I have a finance degree from the Wharton School, but more to the point, having had success in a number of industries, from international trade to technology to finance, I understand the entrepreneurial mindset. And there are a lot of folks here who come from that same background. And so I understand what it takes to succeed, and that enables me to handle complex estates and retirement goals with confidence.
Why do you think it's important for local high net worth individuals, couples, families, etc., to work with a local advisor like you in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area versus maybe someone online or out of state?
Well, I do think the in-person aspect now coming out of COVID is very important, and understanding the needs of people and businesses in Stewart, as well as South Florida more broadly, results from the familiarity with and accessibility to both local CPAs, estate planning attorneys, bankers, and other advisors to work collaboratively while personalizing solutions to the client. So generally in this space, the folks who work collaboratively and are able to reach out to the other advisors that are involved can create the best solutions for those clients.
What do your clients say they appreciate most about working with you?
Oh, I think that they say mostly that they appreciate my entrepreneurial success in technology, finance, and international business. They often comment on my ability to communicate quite effectively, making complex decisions easier for them. My clients compliment me on honest, transparent assessments of their situations, as well as the options I'm able to find and provide.
What do you enjoy most about helping people or couples or families?
Well, I've worked on a lot of large problems that impact literally millions of people, millions of consumers in international trade, as well as technology, with my patented inventions and patented technologies. And I find it more satisfying to work directly with people, bringing those same talents to bear on their specific situations. It's very
Great.
fulfilling.
Yeah. Scott, before we wrap it up here, for someone in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area that is thinking about whether they have an estate problem or they want to avoid or prevent an estate planning problem, what should they really be looking for in a financial advisor slash estate planning expert like you? And where do most people get it wrong?
Interesting question. I think that putting family and legacy first is very important. I approach every engagement with the question, how will this decision affect my client and the ones that they love and their long-term goals? I work closely with attorneys again, accountants, and other professionals to make sure the estate plan fits and is fully coordinated. But I provide regular reviews and keep very, very close contact with my clients so that I can understand their life changes and also then react and provide that personal response that most avoid. My goal is to be the steady advisor that your family can rely on for generations.
Scott, I appreciate you taking the time to share all of this today in this interview. I think what really stands out for me is your personalized approach, your level of education and experience. And this is exactly why you were chosen from and by the National Professional Referral Network. So for those of you that are watching and considering putting an estate plan in place or want to learn more about estate planning and see if you can prevent a particular situation or problem, we highly recommend that you reach out to Scott and so he can answer all of the questions that you have. Everybody have a great rest of your day and bye for now.